ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Elmore deep, left side, Bryant, good! From 30 feet, John Elmore!
The Drive with Paul Swann.
Welcome into the Thursday edition. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. It is May 30th. Yesterday we didn't have a show, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your take. The Pirates and the Reds go into rain delay. It's a long game. Pirates win. Of course, you can hear all the Pirates action all season long right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. So, I've got two things we're going to get into today. First, in a few minutes, we're going to hear from David Kahn. Yesterday, we were set to talk to David from the West Virginia Power, so he's going to get us called. He's really going to get us caught up. The Pirates, we'll get into that a little bit later on as well, but mostly I want to talk to David, and there's a couple of Marshall things we're going to really get into second half of the show. There, of course, is the letter from Mike Hamrick. He addresses the fans, gives the fans sort of a sneak peek, an upcoming look at, hey, here are some of the things we're looking to do. Here are some of the things we're looking for. Here's what we need you for. Thanks for being a fan, helping us out. You know, pretty much he's just addressing the fan base. So we'll get into that. We'll talk about that. And Conference USA releasing the schedule today, and not the schedule itself, but the television schedule. So now we know the television package, what it looks like for Marshall. And we saw in the letter from Mike Hamrick that NFL Network, exciting times to be in Conference USA. Marshall, not on NFL Network. But still, overall, a great opportunity for the league. And he's exactly right. So we'll get into that. But more importantly, and we'll break it down by game, or at least we'll break the schedule down a little bit. ESPN, the bowl games, those are going to be on ESPN. There are a few games on ESPN2. There's some games on ESPN3, and there's some games on ESPN Plus. Marshall has got a few games on CBS Sports Network, and half the games, if I counted right, half the games are going to be on somebody's Facebook platform. So Facebook is where you're going to see half the games. Now, if you've got a Fire Stick, I think you can do this with Apple TV. I don't have an Apple TV. If you've got a Roku, I'm pretty sure you can do that as well. You know, whatever you're using as far as your streaming device is concerned, you should be able to get the Facebook Watch app if you're going to watch the games on Facebook, and you can watch it, stream it that way on your screen. Also, you can cast it. You can use Chromecast. There's several ways to do this. At this point, I think as a fan base, I don't have to tell you how to do it. There might be some of you that maybe still need a little help in the right direction, but if these games are going to be on Facebook, then you can probably pull them up using Facebook Watch. Watch them on your big screen. You're okay. You're good to go. Won't be a problem. Some of you, you've been watching Marshall games on Facebook for years, so again, this isn't something new. You know what to do. But I almost would rather, but I'm biased here because I've enjoyed it, I'd almost rather see more games on ESPN Plus. Now, I'm paying for ESPN Plus. $4.99 a month out of my pocket, I believe. It's so small that I don't notice it, and I count every penny. I work here. I count every penny. And I think that ESPN Plus has been great. I keep it around. I've kept it past the seasons where there will be something for me to watch, just because there might be something else on there I want to catch and I want to keep an eye on. So I'm keeping it around. And I'm sure that's what they're hoping, that, okay, we're throwing so much stuff up on ESPN Plus that you're just going to keep this year-round. And so far, so good. But I like ESPN Plus as a platform. I kind of wish more Marshall games, if you're going to go the streaming route. Now, Marshall doesn't have say. Marshall can't say, no, Stadium, we don't want to be on Stadium Facebook. Instead, we want to be over here on ESPN Plus. Just doesn't work that way. Instead, the television partners, the media partners, they break down in their order of pecking what they want. Okay. You pick now. All right, we're taking this. We're going to put it on our Facebook page. All right. All right, you pick next. Okay, we're going to take that. We're going to put that on ESPN3. And for ESPN3, that's easier for a lot of fans because they don't have to pay the barrier of entry, which is, again, $4.99. I know for some of you, maybe you're scrounging right now, $4.99. You're looking at the end of the day going, I know we're talking about a meal at Taco Bell, but still, I don't know if I can add all these streaming services, and I completely get that. So we'll get into the television schedule a little bit later on. Just break it down. For me, I'm with you right there. $4.99 a month. I can do it. I can swing it a little bit. It's fine. Again, we're not talking that much. But for some, yeah, that's a big deal. For others, hey, no big deal. But really, I guess I would have liked to have seen Marshall at least on NFL Network one time. At least. Give me one matchup on NFL Network. Instead, you've got some Friday night matchups. You've got some games on Facebook. And you tell me, is Facebook cool with you? I want to hear this. If you're on social right now, I'm asking you to respond on Twitter when I should be asking you to respond on Facebook, but that's how it goes. At Paul Swann on Twitter, I kind of want to hear from you. Just give me a breakdown, what you think. Facebook cool with you? Would you like to see a different platform? And it doesn't matter when you're listening to this. If you're listening to it live, you can't tweet at me right now. You can't Facebook message me right now. Do that. Do it later. Or if you're on the podcast, you're listening to this, it's 10 o'clock at night, message me, pop a at me, say, hey, this is what I think. I want to kind of get a temperature of, as a fan base, if you can't be at the game, is this the route to go for you? Facebook, it's on, you can find it. You've got Facebook, you know how to use it. It's not like the good old days where you didn't know how to use ESPN3 when they were streaming games. Nobody had streaming apps. Nobody had Amazon Fire Sticks. Nobody had Apple TVs. Nobody had Rokus. You didn't have these things. So is this really a thing now? Is it, okay, this is just where the streaming package is. This is just where the television package is. And how beneficial is it? Because if you're a Marshall fan, you're going to go look for it. If you're not a Marshall fan, am I cruising Facebook on Saturday looking for a college football game? I'm going to tell you the answer right now. It's no. Those days at Marshall, not playing on Saturday, instead playing on Friday, you know what I'm doing on Saturday? I'm sitting down on the big screen. Okay, what's on ESPN? Let's see what's on FS1. Hey, let's check out CBS Sports Network. Let's see what they got. More than likely, I'm going to probably cherry pick a little bit, go after the Conference USA games just to keep up with them a little bit more. But as far as visibility is concerned, I'm not sitting on Facebook Watch. I'm not sitting on my Facebook app looking, okay, hey, what college game can I watch today? This is basically, you want to watch Marshall? Here's where you find it. And we'll get into that later on. David Kahn's going to join me first. We'll talk to him about the West Virginia Power. I didn't think we were going to have him until 5:30 because he was big time in today. He was on Seattle radio. I'll talk to you and him in a few minutes here on The Drive. ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann, the 2019 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Best Talk Show on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Still to come, we're going to break down which games Marshall will be on Facebook and which games are going to be on good old-fashioned television. But first, yesterday, due to rain, weather controls sometimes when this program goes on the air, and it also controls when David Kahn gets to join us from the West Virginia Power. So, of course, thanks for penning me in today. I know your schedule was really busy, big timing, talking to Seattle Talk Radio about West Virginia Power baseball. You're feeling it, right? You're feeling because did Pittsburgh radio call you? Maybe not.
No Pittsburgh.
But Seattle.
Seattle radio called me. I mean, hey, when the number 2 prospect in the Mariners system gets promoted, it's kind of a big deal.
Talk about that if you would. That's something we were going to talk about yesterday. That's really a big deal.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it was a bit of not really a surprise. We kind of thought he was going to be here until the end of the All-Star break, but he was just hitting too well, Paul. 11 homers, 29 RBIs, and well, he just hit a home run against Lexington, and I kind of knew after he hit that home run in Game 1 of a doubleheader that was the last we were going to see of him. Just kind of had a feeling, and then last night the move was made official, but he's so good. He was better than this league from basically the 2 weeks into when he started. He's going to be a major leaguer one day. He's got all 5 tools. The raw power and the athleticism is unmatched. The arm is tremendous. The defense is there, and the speed is well notable. So he's just so fun to watch. I'm never going to call another game of his in the minor league, but it was fun while it lasted 50 games.
How much of an impact do you think he's going to have at that next level? I mean, what kind of upside does he have when it's all said and done? What are you anticipating? What are you hoping to see?
I'm hoping to see him adjust a little bit because he definitely has some things to work on. He's 19, so still got a little bit of a maturity thing to go through, as all 19-year-olds do. And he has some kinks in the swing that I think need to be motored out, especially against left-handed pitching with the breaking ball. That was where I saw him struggle the most, was against lefties with really good curves. He would kind of watch it a little bit too much, or he would just not put a great swing on the ball. So I want to see him adjust there, and I think if he does adjust to that, then he's going to be basically unstoppable in terms of a really good hitter, because there's no real way to pitch him besides throwing a lefty curveball in the outside corner. And really, Kelenic had the unfortunate benefit of dealing with some umpires who had wider strike zones, and Kelnic's a guy who has his own strike zone, doesn't really adjust to the umpire's strike zone some of the time, so that kind of hurt him a little bit. But, I mean, he's going to be such a tremendous player. He's going to impact any team he goes to with a tremendous amount. He's going to provide an extra jolt to that Modesto Nuts lineup that kind of needs it a little bit right now. They've got some players, but Kelenic's certainly going to provide an extra added boost, and they're going to enjoy him for as long as they have him. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's at Double-A by the end of the year.
Jarred Kelenic, you look at his numbers, it was crazy. Well, above 300 for most of his career, 11 homers, 29 RBI at low A. I mean, that's fast-track numbers. I mean, as we saw, that's fast-track numbers.
It is. It is completely fast-track numbers, and it was most people were saying, why is he still here? Why is he still here? Well, he's 19. It's only his second year of pro ball. The Mariners wanted him to kind of feel some things out, adjust to a new level, a new league. It takes a while for guys like that to adjust to the South Atlantic League, even with the superstar power of Jarred Kelenic. Yes, the numbers were there, but he did strike out a little bit. There were a couple times where he had some cold stretches. He went 167 for 10 games. His first road trip of the year, he was 2 for 25 in his first 8. So, you're sitting there like, okay, he has a little ironing out to do, and he was ready to go probably about 3 weeks ago to go up to the next level. But Kelenic, it's hard to describe how good he really is because the numbers don't really even do him justice. Just the thing that I really want to mention about him is 2 days ago when we came back and won after being down 5 in the 8th inning, was we were down 1 going into the 9th, and we had Kelenic up second in the on-deck circle. And then all of a sudden, Jarred Kelenic was sitting there in the on-deck circle, and the reliever Daniel James struck the first guy out, and you're sitting there, and you see Kelenic in the on-deck circle locked in more than I think I've ever seen him in my entire 50-game career watching him. And I knew if the first pitch was anywhere close over the plate, he was hitting out of the ballpark. The very first pitch, fastball, middle in, by. Not close, no doubter. He destroyed it, and we were tied, and we won the game in extras. Unbelievable, but not surprising because of how locked in I saw he was, and that's when I kind of knew this is the end of Kelenic with the power.
So Kelenic's gone. That means you got to find someone to come in and maybe take his place, or at least you hope the next person that's sent over from the Seattle Mariners can have an impact. And what do we get? What do we get for him? What did the Seattle bless us with?
So we actually got blessed with a pretty good guy. His name is Keegan McGovern. He's a 9th-round pick last year out of the University of Georgia. Now, he's been hurt for most of the year. He's been on the injured list. He's been in Arizona rehabbing, so he's just trying to get his footing back under him for this year. But Paul, I'm literally watching him hit BP right now, and he's hit 6 home runs already in batting practice. So I think he's feeling all right. He's going to be our DH tonight, and with the short field that we've got here in Asheville at McCormick Field, we might see what Keegan refers to as a zinger-dinger tonight in his first game back with the West Virginia Power. But great guy. He hit 15 home runs in 69 games last year. Also, most of them at this level, so I don't think we'll see him for too long, but the Mariners wanted to get his legs under him before they send him back up to Modesto, where he probably belongs right now. But he's going to be a DH for a little bit for us, and we're looking forward to having him here, and he's been a really nice guy to talk to. I've really enjoyed my short conversations with him, and certainly hope he can help the ball club out.
How impressed, or how do you feel so far the way that Seattle's handled transactions has gone? Now, the ultimate goal here is to make Seattle better, but has it felt like they're taking care of their minor league teams, at least not leaving them high and dry, and making sure that they're at least trying to make sure these teams can also be competitive? If their teams are competitive, it's good for their player development.
Yeah, they're certainly trying to do that. Giving us a guy like Keegan, who I think his talent is better than this level already, is certainly a sign of that. And, they're certainly leaving a lot of guys here that may deserve a promotion, but there's a gluttony of certain positions up at the higher levels. So these guys are getting time to develop and getting time to kind of groom themselves at the South Atlantic League. And I think that's only better for their development, because in their first or second years in full season ball, they're just going to have the opportunity to find unbridled success, and that'll only help them as they move up to higher levels and face stiffer competition.
David Kahn, our guest from the West Virginia Power. Paul Swann with you here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. So yesterday, we get rained out. Yeah, I know, right? I mean, we should have just jumped on. Just put the baseball game, potted it down, Swann and Kahn take the airwaves. So I'm a day behind.
It's kind of ironic that I got booted because of baseball.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. I mean, it was like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour almost rain delay, I think it was. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't have like 15 hockey brawls in that game as well.
Oh, geez.
You following this, the love-hate between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati? You follow any of that?
Yeah, but it's been well renowned for a while. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati don't like each other. They're in the same division. I mean, it's not surprising that it's happening again and again.
Is it the teams that don't like each other, or is it the broadcasters that don't like each other? I'm trying to figure that out right now.
I find it hard to believe that there's anyone in this world that doesn't like Marty Brennaman to the Cincinnati Reds. So, and trust me, Greg Brown and Joe Block from the Pittsburgh Pirates and Steve Blass are gems as well. But I find it hard to believe that anybody in their right mind who is not a complete and total numbskull doesn't like Marty Brennaman. Just to be totally honest with you.
I think that's not an issue here. I think it's just that the broadcasters are talking trash, and of course, they're going to stand up for their guys. John Wayner, I've hung out with that man. I've had dinner with him. He's pretty cool, and those guys are real cool. And it's just surreal to think. They're talking trash, just serious trash talking going on here. And it seems like, I know it happens elsewhere, but it only feels like, though, since maybe our myopic view of everything, or at least, where I'm at, it's like, you guys are just brutal sometimes when it comes to talking about the other team, which I kind of like. I hate to say that. I kind of like the fact that the baseball,
like in
baseball.
Get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other sport, maybe not as much. But in baseball, because you see the other team so much, many times.
I like it, too. I mean, when we play Lexington, I get into it a little bit.
No, not you, David Kahn.
Oh, yeah.
No, not you. No, I don't believe that.
I have a dark side a little bit.
Tell me about your dark side, please. I want to hear this.
You don't want to know.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
Look, Paul, we've never had any issues, so that you've never seen my dark side. But if you cross me, bad things will happen.
Would I cross you, David? Would I cross you?
No, you wouldn't.
No,
never. And that's why I don't need to tell you about the dark side, because it's not going to matter. But I do have an issue with certain things, and if people do those things, I get mad, as anyone does.
Okay, fair enough. So I'll try not to tick you off. I'll not be late next time.
You're fine.
You're texting me like, "Are we doing this?" And I'm like, he's like, "Oh, never mind. I know now why I haven't heard from you yet."
I hadn't checked my Facebook when I saw the post from the drive, and I was like, "Oh, never mind. We're in a rain delay. I got it. No worries."
I'm sorry. I should have texted you. I apologize.
No, it's totally fine. I saw the notification on my phone, and I just wasn't checking it because I was busy typing up the Kelnick release, and then I was like, I texted you, and I was like, wait a minute, there was a notification. That must mean the show's canceled. And I went on. I was like, yep, it's canceled. Okay,
Yep.
no problem.
Yeah. So we're playing makeup today, and which kills me though is yesterday I had more time to do everything I wanted to, and the show gets canceled. Today I have less time to get everything done I want to and need to do, and the show's live. I could have taken the rain delay today and had the show yesterday. It would have worked out perfect for me, but it is what it is, as cliche as that is.
Well, yeah, but if we had the show yesterday, we couldn't have talked about the hockey game that happened last night.
That's true. How about that? The Blues and the Bruins, one apiece.
Blues in overtime. Yep.
It's how it's going to be every game just about. It's either going to be a blowout or overtime. There's no happy medium.
Honestly, I hope it's close every game. Like, that just makes it more fun. At least in my eyes.
Yeah. And tonight we get, hopefully, an entertaining NBA game, maybe. Are you feeling it? Golden State, Toronto? You feeling any of that?
Oh, I'm not an NBA fan in the slightest.
Okay, so
I'm a college basketball guy through and through, so I just hope Golden State loses, but whatever.
Hey, that's a hot take.
I said I hope. I don't think. I hope.
Okay, still a hot take.
Golden State's going to win the finals again, but I hope they lose.
See, I'm not interested in the NBA right now. Maybe if Toronto makes it a series, I would be interested, but I'm just not interested. I'm not feeling it right now.
Right, and that's why I'm not liking the NBA at all, because it's never interesting. It's Golden State, Golden State, Golden State, Golden State. It's like, great, I'm over it. Okay, fine.
But did we have that problem as kids and growing up with, say, Showtime and the Lakers? Did we have that problem with the Bulls? Now, I know with Showtime there was always the Celtics there, so it was sort of give and take, and then Detroit comes in and makes it their show for a while. Then we've got the Bulls, and in between you get a couple of teams like, San Antonio. I'm thinking hockey now. And a couple other teams that, are peppered in there. But for the most part, we have had dynasties for a while. Why is it different now?
Okay. Because it's a different brand of basketball. Back then, the brand of basketball was so much more appealing to watch. It was more kind of like the college game in my eyes. At least in this day, guys are dropping like 140 points, and you're sitting there like, okay, like great, nobody's playing any defense. Like, yeah, it's cool if you're rooting for that player or that team, and they're dropping that many points. But as a casual fan, I'm like, okay, like great, they're gonna make another basket. All right, and another one, and another one, and another one. Like, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me anymore. It's bad, but back in the day, it was more. There were a lot of defensive stars, and it made the games a lot more exciting because you kind of didn't know when someone was going to step up and make a big defensive play.
You just want a big 7'6" guy out there swatting balls. That's what you want.
I do. Is that all? Is that too much to ask?
No, I'm with you there. Just give a big man in the middle swatting things.
Give me Dikembe Mutombo. Okay?
No. Doing that all day.
Yes. Exactly. I want that. Give me primetime Kevin Garnett.
Let me ask you, LeBron James going up against Dikembe Mutombo in his prime, what happens?
Ooh. I still think LeBron, he's too good.
He's
too good. He'll find a way to beat him.
Are you saying that LeBron can go in on Dikembe in his prime?
No. I didn't say he could go in. I said he'll find a way to beat him.
Okay, so he'll stay away from him.
Yes, LeBron is smart enough to know not to drive in on Dikembe Mutombo.
But I'm saying one-on-one. One-on-one.
Okay. I'll go 50-50 split.
50-50 split, okay. Well, right now, the only thing stopping LeBron is the Lakers, so you know how that is. It's true.
No, you're not wrong, and that's why I disagreed with him going there in the first place. But, hey, whatever. He's got millions and millions of dollars, and I don't, so his call.
Hey, I'm a Lakers fan, and let's trade him. Let's get it.
Wait, you are?
Well, yeah, and I'm not front-running.
I know, but I didn't know you were a Lakers fan. Why?
Why not? They were good back when I was a kid growing up.
So you were a bandwagon?
No, I started watching the NBA, and it was Dr. J and Magic Johnson and all that.
Oh,
I was a big Magic Johnson fan. And so, I was watching that, and I didn't like the Celtics. And so there were two groups, and, it was like the Sharks and the Jets here, and
Right.
junior high and high school and elementary even. I was just in that Laker school. Man, our school.
I get it.
Our kids,
I get it
the
now.
kids I rolled with, we were all Laker fans, and then we get to junior high, and those other kids, they're Celtics fans. So,
And those other kids.
I'm telling you, those other kids, they were Celtics fans.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up a Celtics fan too. I still casually root for them, but I'm not as big of a fan as I used to be.
There was a kid that was at school. I don't even know where he's at now, so it doesn't matter. I'll mention his name. This guy's name is Chad Hagley, and this dude was he was a fan of everything I wasn't. So he's like,
Okay.
he was like a Celtics fan, and like, yeah, just shut up. And he was a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, and I'm like,
Ooh, no.
yeah, no, especially back
Bye.
in my Gretzky days, no.
Yeah, bye. Thank you, next.
Yeah, so I had to put up with that all the time. So that's why I'm
I
a
was going to
Laker
say,
fan.
because I know I like several teams that you don't like. Like, I'm a Boston fan, so.
Yeah, but that's
Like-
that's okay. You're wearing that, you're owning that, and sure, it's kind of sickening that Boston's going to have like the triple crown of sports here soon, but I'll get over that.
Yeah,
It's not going to affect me personally.
It is funny that they almost had the Grand Slam.
Hey, take the triple crown. It hasn't been done in a long time.
I'll take it. I mean, especially with hockey. Like normally, normally you think of a triple crown of championships, you think basketball is the third one, but hockey's now, kind of the possible third ring for Boston this year. I mean, it would be pretty remarkable for me to have seen 13 championships in my lifetime after if the Bruins win the Stanley Cup, but it's 3 wins away.
There was something I read where Detroit no longer is hockey town, and it's Boston that's hockey town.
I'm not going to go that far, but sure. Well, if people want to say that, fine. I'm not going to go that far, though.
I mean, you got to admit, 2011, just top of my head, 2011. Then
They won the Cup.
You got a shot at it, but don't in 2013, and then you got a shot at it again here.
Yeah, against the Blackhawks, right? Yeah, that was actually a tough series to watch against the Blackhawks. I actually thought the Bruins had that one.
See,
I remember where I was Game 7 too, and watching and just being kind of because the Bruins were up a goal late in the third period of Game 7, and the Blackhawks came back. I remember because I wasn't watching the game, and I just saw the Bruins were up. I just had the notification because I was at summer camp, and I was going to our staff lounge because I was a counselor to watch the end of the game, and the Bruins gave up that goal as I walked in to tie the game. I'm like, oh no, we're going to go to overtime. Like this isn't good. And then 30 seconds later, the Blackhawks scored again. I'm like, what just happened? Like, I walk in and I watched 2 minutes of the worst Bruins hockey I've ever seen. It was unbelievable.
David Kahn, our guest, West Virginia Power, the Power in action. You can go online and catch it tonight. All you have to do is go to wvpower.com. Let me throw this at you because I got messages sometimes. I have a private line while I'm doing the show. What do you think?
Yeah.
Raleigh, North Carolina, hockey town. This is from my private line that I just got a message for.
Yeah, it's getting there. I don't know if it's there yet, but I think it's getting there. You know, the what is it? The Hurricanes there.
Yes, the Hurricanes.
Carolina Hurricanes.
That's what those are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Carolina Hurricanes, they're certainly popular. I mean, I live in Winston-Salem in the off-season, and I have plenty of friends who live in Winston-Salem with me that go to the Hurricanes games all the time. So it's certainly drawing a crowd, and it might be on its way to being hockey town.
Okay. I just had to push that narrative a little bit again. There are backdoor channels to me at all times while this program's going on live. And so, yeah. So if you ever get a random question, it's because one of those backdoor channels has got a hold of me. I just want to give you
it's fine. No worries.
Give you a heads up.
I'll answer anything and everything here on Swann and Kahn.
You know, we need to do that. We keep talking about that. I actually had people in the office say, when are you going to do that? I'm serious. I walk out the door. It's like, so when you guys are really going to do that podcast? I'm like, well, we got to get Kahn down here. Well, you can just Skype it. Okay, we can Skype it.
We could, but it wouldn't sound as good.
Yeah, see, I want to do it right. I don't want to have, like, you're here on the show now on the phone, and that's great. You know, live, it's radio, but a podcast, there's like a different set of Yeah,
There
different
is. There
rules.
is.
Yes, different set of rules.
There is. Absolutely. No, we're going to make it happen. We got that off day that we talked about that I'm going to come down and I'm going to do the show with you, and then we're going to record the first episode of Swann and Con.
Okay, we'll try to book some major guests for that. We'll see what we can come up with.
We're going to have to. I mean, it's a big moment.
Fair enough. David Cohn, my guest from the West Virginia Power. Have a fun weekend. I know it's going to be pretty busy. Road trips are probably what do you do? All day. I know you're working on notes and other things, but what's the off time like for the road trips?
Well, so it's interesting because I don't really have much off time right now because of the All-Star game. But normally, if I do have any off time, or if we get, let's say, rained out on a given night, I'll try and explore the city a little bit. I'll try and go to some of the hot spots of the city. So, like Asheville, there's a lot of good breweries around town. So I'll check those out, or I'll go to just interesting areas around the city. Last time we got rained out in Asheville in April, I actually found the Pinball Museum and walked around there. That was an interesting little gem that I didn't know existed. So that was cool. But actually, I'm lucky right now. My parents are in town, so tomorrow morning we're going to the Biltmore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's gonna be my one excursion while I'm in Asheville because I have loads of work to do for the All-Star game. So I will be locked in my hotel room doing work.
Yeah, I've been to Asheville. That is the only excursion in Asheville. Last time, at least when I was there.
Well, there's hiking. I mean, I'm a big hiker guy, so I would go hiking if I had time, but I just don't.
Yeah, I stayed in that little motel right next to that Cracker Barn that was the Civic Arena, and
oh yeah, I know where you were.
And that place, I think it shuts down at 2 p.m. That city shuts down.
And then awakens at night.
I suppose. It
does. Especially on the weekend, it certainly wakes up at night.
Yeah, it's changed ever since Marshall used to invade Asheville.
Yes, indeed.
David Cohn, our guest from the West Virginia Power. We'll talk next week. Hey, thankfully, there isn't any television shows for us to bore people with, so I think we're free and clear now.
Yeah, no more Survivor, no more Game of Thrones. We can just talk sports.
I think that's what the fans really want, just us talking sports.
I think so, too. They just want us to go off the rails. That's what they really want.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. Thanks for
all the time.
Thanks for doing it today. We'll talk to you soon, and have a fun trip, man. Have fun travels as you are on the road with the Power.
Yes, indeed. I'll talk to you next week. David
Cohn, our guest, West Virginia Power. We're going to talk Marshall television schedule when we continue with today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the May 30th edition. The Drive continues on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Before we get into what Mike Hamrick had to say in his letter to the fans, and of course then let's talk about the television schedule. Let's go to the social medias. Now, I posted this story earlier from Herd Zone on Twitter, and I kind of made the joke that, maybe I should have posted this on Facebook since most of the games, or at least half the games are going to be on Facebook. And I kind of said that if you've got the Facebook Watch app on your streaming device, you should be good. Well, not all devices have it, and I got one tweet that pointed out, hey, you might want to check that out because I don't think all the devices have Facebook Watch, so that's fair, so that's my homework. Also, this is Dana on Twitter. Dana said, horrible decision by administration. You must have a Facebook account. Facebook does not stream well. Facebook streams allow unprofessional interruptions and even encourage it. ESPN Plus on all 6 would have been 1,000 times better. Horrible move. I hate Facebook for so many reasons. Add one more. And I don't think Marshall had any control in that situation. They don't get to tell the rights holders of the media package, hey, we don't want to be on Facebook. It's either you're on Stadium on Facebook or you're not. So I don't know how much influence Marshall could actually say, like, hey, look, we kind of like to be on the NFL Network. Well, that's great, but we're fourth in line picking and you got picked up. So that's where that's at. But again, a lot of people maybe not fans of Facebook streaming. And then here's what Spencer had to say. Facebook games are convenient, but also at the same time, It's a big convoluted. Unless you have a Fire Stick or things of that sort, it has potential since anyone can watch it, and you don't even have to have an account. So I've got 2 tweets here that contradict each other as far as you don't have to have an account. I'm not sure. I've never tried to watch a Facebook watch game or a game on Facebook without logging into Facebook, so I can't say you have to have an account or you don't. I just don't know. Interesting. It's worth taking a look at to see, just because how many people don't have a Facebook account? I mean, that's a question. I would say it's a far smaller sampling of people who don't have, say, Facebook than, say, don't have Twitter. I mean, I'm sure there's more people who don't have Twitter than Facebook. I mean, if you're going to stream these things on Twitter, yeah, you're probably missing the boat here. But if you're streaming on Facebook, at least you got a pretty broad audience. And maybe the numbers are really good to justify this continually. I can't argue. I don't have the numbers. But for a lot of us, it's not going to be an issue because we're going to be at games. For the road games, there are going to be a lot of places where you can go watch the game. Places like Roosters, I know the Hall of Fame Cafe, both in Huntington, will have these games on their multitude of screens. So if you're a Herd fan, I mean, I see a crowd come every time there's a game on, especially if it's, say, a streaming game. Maybe it's an older crowd. I really haven't just sit there and really broke it down. Okay, this one's older. I just haven't really done that. I haven't screened. But anecdotally, I think it is just an older crowd that comes out, especially when they're streaming games. And, of course, my venue will be different than your venue. Just I know at Roosters, I do see some of the older Herd fans show up a little bit more when it's a game like this where it's not easily accessible. Facebook, though, possibility. And, of course, we haven't even really got into the schedule yet. The one thing I wanted to talk about Mike Hamrick's letter, first and foremost, is he did mention that there's going to be an announcement sooner than later of another home-and-home football series with one of the most well-respected and storied programs in college football. So, storied program. So there's history there. Could it be, I'm thinking too big here. When I think storied program, I think, obviously, Ohio State. Love them or hate them, the Buckeyes are a big deal in college athletics throughout the years. Michigan, love them or hate them, big deal. I'm thinking too big, though, right? Maybe? I don't know. Can't wait to see. Mike Hamrick might show me up and say, look, I got juice. Here's who I got. And then, of course, we'll have him back on the program, hopefully, if his schedule permits. So I'm kind of curious what that announcement's going to be. I'll have to wait unless I can pry it from somebody's hands, sources. See if I can get some sources to reveal that. And the other thing is, of course, the schedule itself. So let's talk about it. So the schedule comes out today, television, and here's what we know. We know that there's going to be 6 broadcasts, 12 football games, 6 broadcasts. The 6 games that are going to be carried on Facebook are going to be the game against Ohio. And if you can't go to that game, you got the option to watch it on a Facebook stream. The Cincinnati game, again, a home game, October 5th at Middle Tennessee, October 26th versus Western Kentucky, November 2nd at Rice, and November 23rd at Charlotte. Now, Western Kentucky, that's a big game. I can see why that would be picked up. Now, of course, 3 games are going to be picked up by CBS Sports Networks. October 18th at Florida Atlantic, November 15th versus Louisiana Tech, November 30th versus FIU. That should be really good. The season opener is going to air on Stadium against VMI, and the Old Dominion game is going to air on Stadium as well. Of course, Boise State, that game is going to be on ESPN2. There are some Conference USA schools that maybe didn't fare so well. I'll have to break it down, but I was reading a little bit from the Old Dominion media earlier. They were breaking down their schedule a little bit. I didn't get a chance to really dive into it, but it sounded like they didn't maybe get as well of a shake than, say, Marshall did. Every game Marshall has is going to be carried by some provider. mean, that says something right there. To the point that when NFL Network came up on the pecking order, Marshall wasn't there. So Marshall's pretty popular. That's a testament to Marshall. I know you'd rather be on the NFL Network, and I would too. But it's still a pretty good opportunity. Quick timeout. We'll wrap it up. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Now, back to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Thankfully, we're going to be back again tomorrow to do it all over. We don't have baseball raining us out. So back tomorrow. Sorry about yesterday. Well, hopefully we've made up for it today. Don't forget, if you do miss a show, you don't know where we're at, and you think we were on, don't forget, you can podcast the show. That's right. All you have to do is find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn. You ever want to just listen to the show on your time, on demand? Hey, that's a great way to do it. So again, all you have to do is subscribe. Apple Podcasts, probably the best bet for you if you have an iPhone, you have an Android device, you've got TuneIn, you've got Stitcher Radio, you've got Spotify, so there are plenty of options for you. Of course, if you're old school, you can just go to the website. We got it right there on the front page. You can listen to the latest episode just by going to WRVC.com. So you do what I do. Go home. I tell my Amazon device that I want to listen to the show. The best way to do that is make it easy. Yeah, I know, we're getting scientific here. I actually have set it up so I go find the feed, and I've set it up as an order, a command. So I tell the Alexa app what I want to listen to, and I've already got it set up, and it knows to trigger that. It's amazing. Like magic, isn't it? All right, that's going to do it for this edition. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Do appreciate it. We are back tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. I want to thank David Kahn from the West Virginia Power for joining me on the program. You know, hey, we're getting better at that. We're not cutting up as much. And I did get a message in regards to his Boston. Here's what I got. I got the only good thing coming out of Boston is an empty bus. Thanks for all the social today. You can find me on Facebook, The Drive with Paul Swann. We've got a page. We got a group. We've also got Twitter at Paul Swann. And, of course, you've got me right here every weekday, rainouts excluded, right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your night, everyone.
WRVC Huntington, W227BS Huntington. This is your radio home for Pittsburgh Pirates baseball, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.